Hello. Hello everybody. How are y'all doing? Yuri, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Hope you are doing well, my friend. One Drunk Man, Brandon, hi. Battleship Orion, hello. Kyazo, Codebra, Peaches, hi. Meow Linda, welcome. Marksy, hey. This is the most energetic stream intro I've heard in the stream. I need to get a little pumped up before starting. Nacho, what's up? Flybeck, what's good? How are y'all doing? Look at those handsome boys. Alright, let's get started. Can we do this layout permanently? You mean the front one? Maybe after I get a new camera. I think I also need to improve my lighting situation a little and whatnot. I look too pale on camera right now. Yeah. What, Tomo, and why now? There are several reasons as to why now. Number one reason is that I am friends with Mr. Beaming Robot and Yutzi, and they wanted to send the prototype to check a few things before. Well, they sent it out a little before, yeah, they wanted to check some stuff with me before they approved CNC. So that's why I have a prototype in hand. What's the board on the desk? Do exclamation keyboard. It's a TCV3 by Duck. Alright, so I have a few things to unpack. Well, I already unpacked it, but I wanted to show you guys. I got some mail from Poland. I got some mail from Europe. One of my friends sent me out a Cherry full-size case, high screen case, just old Cherry case. I might buy a PCB and do a full-size build at some point. Just a classic beige case, just looks nice. But and also wanted to show a few other things. Of course, it was not just the case. The cooler part was that I got some OG dyesubs, which are kind of special. They have, let's see, what's kind of cool to show. Oh yeah, check out these cool keys. Some of these keys, look at that. Some Swiss layout OG dyesubs. Pretty fun. Of course, it's an ISO layout, so you need some ANSI compatibility keycaps. But yep, some Swiss OG dyesubs that we might use today, maybe. We'll see. And then I got some snacks from my friend. I don't know what they are. It's the first time I see these. Do you get in on that Swiss GMK add-on kit? I actually did end entering last minute for the white on black one. Alright. And then a postcard. Yeah. Some cool little thingies. I don't know. I mean, this is very clear. It's a chocolate wafer cookie sort of thing, which is nice. I don't know what these are, but they look like cinnamon or sugar cookies. This just looks like butter cookies. Petite beurre, I guess. It's like just cookies to have with tea or something else. I don't know what this is. Slasky I don't know. Kukierki Kavove Jack Bonkawa something something. Oh, okay, it says right here. It says in English. Coffee candies. So they're coffee candies. Okay, that's fun. And then these look like some milk caramel candies. They look like milk caramel. I mean, there's a cow on the packaging. So that sounds fun. Maybe I'll have this wafer though. Wafer chocolate thing. Kind of looks kind of yummy. Classic chocolate wafer cookie thingy. Anyway, yeah. Got some snackoos and a postcard from Zori in Poland. But yeah, thank you so much. These snacks were sent out by Mr. Soran. If you know Soran, he's one of the moderators in the Teha Types channel. But he very kindly offered to send out some snacks along with proxying this board. So yeah. Yeah, I need a EU proxy, so that's what ended up happening. Alright, let's get right into the build. The tiger in the background looks intimidating. He's a cutie. JD. He's a cutie. Look how kindly he is protecting and embracing Ron. Such a kind and gentle caress and care. He's about to eat him. No. Oh, we don't do that here. Soran being nice for once. Imagine. Oh, there we have it. It says Tomo Alu prototype, as you can see. Is it possible to tell my friend happy birthday? Her name is Sajal, but you can call her Sage. Her birthday is October 8th, and I want to make a video for her. Happy birthday, Sage. I hope you have a great one. I hope you like keyboards, because I stream and build keyboards. So yeah, happy birthday, Sage. May your wisdom grow eternally, since you're named Sage after all. What's the board you're using right now? This is a Duck TCV3. Alright, so we have our switches here. Have our keyboard. We have some lube. You guys know what this is, right? Da-da-dun. O-ring and daughterboard cable. Some clip-in stab. Some screw-in stabs. Oh, here's our plate. Here's our PCB. And I think these are just... oh yeah, these are remaining springs and stickers, which we don't need today. She does like keyboards. She got me into it. Oh, okay, that's good. That's nice. Tire God, good day. Alright. big reveal. I don't think there really is that big of a reveal. Hope they didn't pack the PCB on the bottom like that. No, I already unboxed this before. Da-da-da! Here it is, our Tomo prototype. What's the top keyboard? You can do exclamation keyboard to find out what the top keyboard is. It's the keyboard I'm currently using. So here it is. In it's all its glory. Is Mason here? Yeah. Don't you guys dare ask what kind of silver is this silver. It's silver. It's just silver. Nice little semi-spherical, cylindrical, my bad. Cylindrical bonbons, half cylindrical bonbons. Nice little feet there. Brass weight. I believe this is aluminum, so this is aluminum. But polished butt? No, this is all sandblasted aluminum. How's it finished compared to Jane? Honestly, it has a better finish compared to Jane. I would think that Jane has a cool finish and all, but I think this is a nicer finish, to be honest with you. It's very nice and smooth. Is this updated from Teha? That's a good question. I think this is a better question for Beaming Robot and the people at Monokei. But I suppose this is probably updated because I was sent this prototype in advance of... I was told that... So I actually assembled this. I did like a mock assembly before off stream because I was asked to do this with a relative urgency. And it was because they just needed to make sure that everything fit together nicely. Because they're about to approve the CNC. So I already did like a small mock assembly. Old TGR never had good finishing. Yeah, I would say it's like hit or miss for sure. But yeah, it's not polished. Down below. I'm gonna quote you on this everywhere. Tomo has a better finish than Jane. Okay. Too bad. But I personally do think this finish is like, it's just very uniform. You know what I mean? Like it's just like nice and even, consistent silver, and like no discoloration, no like, you know, no like unevenness in texture. So I think that's the part that's particularly nice about it. I hope the blue comes out nice. I'm sure it'll come out nice. If the prototype came out nice, I'm sure the... Oh, well, I'm sure the swap blue will come out pretty nice. So sad I missed the GB. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a functional knob or emblem. It's not a knob. It literally is just a badge. So you'll see how it screws in from the inside. So let's actually why don't we open it up, because you probably have seen the interior already, but you might as well see what it's like anyway if you haven't seen it before. So the assembly is rather simple. It's just a top piece with a bottom cover, and the bottom cover basically has the angling, right? It's angled it's the angled bottom, along with weights integrated into it, and of course the daughter board screws onto the bottom piece. So yeah, top and bottom case like that, but seamless basically because the bottom kind of serves like a cover. So the FOMO 75. Anyway, so this is the top piece, right? So as you can see, nice and uniform, thanks to the fact that it's seamless. It's all like nice and consistent on the anodizing and whatnot, right? And as you can see, the corner is simply a badge. It's just two little countersunk screws, right? You can actually remove it. It's very easy to. In this case, I just need to grab a nice Phillips screw driver and just undo this. Wish the stainless steel but was not polished. I do agree personally. I personally prefer sandblasted. Stainless steel. But that's just me. So here is the badge. Badge is pretty nice and simple. I only got one badge. I only have this Monokei logo badge. It's the only one I have. It's not a knob. It's pretty much as simple as this. It's just a little block of little cylindrical block of aluminum with 2 screw holes that you can use. Right, very simple. Someone remind me, what way does the Monokei logo go? I think the little circle goes. Wait, does it go this way? It goes this way. Thera 75 badge? Yeah, I think this Thera 75 also had that idea of a badge right at the corner, so. Alright, so there's your little badge, right? So pretty simple, and as you can see, it has top mount positions, 4 at the top, 3 at the bottom. So of course, when I first saw this, as soon as I saw this, I was like, huh, there's quite a bit of distance here, and then this mounting point is kind of far from the corner, so I was like, well, maybe this part will sag a bit, but I think it's okay actually after assembly. You guys will see once I assemble this all together. I think the solder joints pretty much help add a bit of rigidity to that part, so it'll be okay. So there's the top piece, and here's the bottom piece. Bottom piece is pretty simple, just a nice cavity. Has a has a way to go to the daughter board, and as you can see, the bottom pieces are screwed onto the bottom piece here, so you can actually even undo them if you would like to. We'll just do it for demonstration purposes. We'll just undo this. Yo, Terrence, hello. How are you, my friend? Alright, so there is the bottom piece. So the bottom piece is just, this is just sandblasted aluminum. I apologize if I said stainless steel on the announcement, but it's actually, this is just aluminum. This is aluminum, very light, nice little plate with taps, basically. Pretty simple, right? So this is just aluminum, and then you have the brass weight here. That one I won't remove just because I don't want it. It's just bothersome to do so. You know what? I'm gonna just remove those screws. All right. And then here is the bottom. Here's the bottom brass weight, right? So the bottom brass weight is a nice bar that spans like maybe like 2/3 of the case, right? And it says Tomo. Yeah, so pretty simple construction-wise. Like it's intuitive how it works. So this is just a cover for that part essentially. GMK, bye, hello. Thank you so much for your 5 months. This build is exactly how I want to build it. Nice. Nice, that's good. So I guess you'll get to see what it's like today, if you get to stick around for a while. Is it with the O-ring though? We do have the ability to do O-ring. We do also have the ability to do top mounts. So we can do either way essentially. So we can try both. I already tested the PCB, but I'm just gonna plug it in just to check. So let's grab this. Let's get the daughterboard cable. Let's get the O-ring out here. Alright, let's get this cable plugged in. Okay. Alright, I heard the little sound. Julian, hello, how are you? Alright, I think I need to upload the JSON file on VIA because it's not on there yet. So let's just put. Alright, and there it is. Tomo Monokei 75 PCB. Looks perfectly fine to me. Let's just change a few key map things that I prefer. Let's do left control here. That's fine. Everything else is fine. Right. Let's put this to the layer key. Home, page up, page down, end. That's all good. Maybe let's put delete up here. Actually, we can put the function key up there. So let's put the function key up here and make this right alt. Although I never use right alt technically. And then we can put other stuff like caps lock, maybe put some media keys or something. Alright, well, you know, whatever. Oh god. Alright, so just to test it, you know, just a few of these should work. I already tested it before, but just checking. Alright, cool, looks good. Okay, let's just make sure the spacebar is working though. Okay, cool. Alright, it's all good. So we're good to go for now. Yeah, we'll do 7U today and full backspace. Yeah, that's good. That sounds pretty good to me. Alright. Let's close VIA. That daughterboard looks like it's positioned very far forward. It's positioned just at the port, the position where like the angled portion ends. So you'll get to see it in just a second. Alright, yeah, so it's positioned right there, so not that far forward actually. There is a bit of a little tunnel sort of before you get to the port, so yeah, so not that far forward, I would say. Alright. Let's get started here. So here we have a clip-in stabilizer for the spacebar, because if we're gonna try the O-ring, we need a clip-in stabilizer. Oh yeah, I believe these are the screws for top mounts, so let's just put them here for now. Oops. Okay. Didn't realize you were a mod in Linworks Discord. Feel pretty dumb asking if you saw the Dallas last stream. It's okay. Alright, so let's see. So we are gonna need 3 2-use tabs, right? Shift, Enter, and backspace. And then, so you get 3 pairs of these guys. And 3 pairs of these guys. And then let's use the gold wires to be consistent instead of the silver one. Put this back. Alright. Hella confused between the Dallas and the Cloudline. Both boards are stellar, but I cannot afford to buy both. Definitely have to think about what you like more, I guess. And specifically, maybe the layout, I think, would be a good way to help you make that choice, I think. Like, what layout do you want more right now? Or by the time it arrives, actually. Not even now. Maybe by the time it arrives, it's probably a better assessment, because let's say you skip the dollies now and you go for a TKL, then you know. You don't have an 100% chance to get both. That is also correct, because it is a raffle for the dollies, and it is also a queue system for the cloud line. So yeah, that is true. Chances will vary for everybody. If only raffle was easy to get, yeah. What originally got me into keyboards, I've always been interested in tinkering, and I also met a friend who was into it, so he took me to a meetup and I kind of got into it. When I was in school also, I had a friend who was into keyboards, but I didn't really know too much about it. I didn't really care, actually. Yeah, I would say that it was until I went to my first meetup back in 2016 that I really kind of fell in love with it, and I was like, oh, like I really want to try this out. Yeah. Cloudline is a Kaneki system. Yeah, if you are in North America, that is correct. But there are proxies somewhere in other places, so if you are in a different region, your vendor corresponds to a different way of checking out, I assume. Oh, Obsidian, hello. Oh, Drew, what's up? Hello, it's the Cakes, how are you? Let me make this closer. Let's do the 2-use first. Artemis, hello. Poner, what's up? What plates do you find go well with cherry blacks? Honestly, most of them go pretty well with cherry blacks. I would say aluminum, palm, polycarb, even brass, and even stainless steel. Actually, I mean, honestly, I personally prefer softer plates like aluminum or polycarb or palm, let's say. But if you want to try a stiffer plate, linears are actually fine on them as well. Like I used to do linears on brass plates or on stainless steel, and they actually, you know, it was actually nice for a while. And then I decided I liked softer plates a little more, so I kind of shifted onto those as time went by. Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's bad to have a different plate. Yeah, it's just your preference at the time is what determines that. Have you tried Durock palm switches? Yes, I have. Durock palm switches are very, very smooth, really nice. The springs are like, I think they have those like long springs, and so they have a nice kind of a stronger return to the upstroke, right? So kind of nice accentuated upstroke. They also have a longer stem, if I recall. So they do have that kind of like more clacky, more like pronounced bottom out sound to them. So Durock palm switches, personally, I like them a lot. If you like if I like them a lot, like in the context of if I wanted a Switch that was pretty, yeah, like very, like had a very pronounced, like very emphasized sound to it. Whereas I think like a lot of other Switches tend to be a little bit more, tend to have a little bit more of a muted profile for the upstroke, because maybe they don't use like those extended long springs, or they also don't have like the extended pole for the downstroke. So, oh, Jedi Junior, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been a busy week, to be honest, and I kind of have been realizing that October is gonna be an extremely busy month for me, both work and keyboard related. There's just a lot of cool things coming up and a lot of things like work related that I just have to do, and so I'll just have to be really good at my time management. So yeah, so I've been kind of been busy this week trying to prep for what's coming. So today was a pretty busy day, I would say, but I'm doing well. I'm in a good mood. I will be watching Shang-Chi, the movie, this weekend, so I'm very excited about that. I know a lot of people already watched it and people have said great things about it. Of course, as a Asian American person, I am very proud and feel very seen, and I really hope it's awesome. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that too. Man Proton, hello. Almost missed this. Thank God I woke up. Well, you haven't missed much. You haven't missed too much. Anyway, I found MXbox best on FR4. Oh yeah, FR4 is good too. I do like FR4. What is your day job, if you can share? I'm actually a PhD student, and so I do research for the most part. Attend some classes, but I mostly work in a research lab. So yeah, I write and publish things, I guess, if I can. That's the goal, is to put information out there. What field of study? I'm in biomedical engineering. Specifically, I work in like the imaging field with medical applications. So if there's any deep learning, machine learning people in chat, or image processing people in chat, that's kind of my thing. I'm so excited for Star Wars Visions. Oh yeah, I saw that trailer and I was like, that's pretty damn cool. Actually, Poner told me about it, and I was like, yo, this is pretty nice. This is like the collab I didn't know, or like the production kind, like the kind of production I didn't know I needed. It looks good. Second biomedical engineering streamer I know. Oh, interesting. But that said, I think it's different between someone who does it as a day job or like is a student still. Like, it's all different, and also different levels. Never gotten into anime, but I always wanted to, so I'm hyped for it. I personally, okay, well, I'm a weeb, to be honest, but anime offers, oh my god, well, offers a lot of great storylines and great character development and a lot of cool art, in my opinion. Are you now? Yes, I am. But that said, oh, speaking of anime, is anyone here watching When They Cry or Higurashi Onaku Koro ni Sotsu, the latest season? Because the latest episode, which came out this week, oh my effing god. Oh my god. Too good. Any anime you would recommend I start with, coming from the perspective of a Star Wars fan? So a Star Wars fan would like sci-fi, with like spacey or like kind of that kind of theme with like some kind of conflict, hero, villain, a bunch of other characters and lost siblings and lore intensive stuff. Yeah. Do you think Code Geass would be a cool recommendation to start with? Code Geass is an excellent anime that starts... Well, the first season has a lower budget, but it's a very interesting show. And I would say if you're like a Star Wars fan, I feel like that kind of fits that right in. Or like Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is also very good. Involved character development, like relatively intricate and fun to watch. I wouldn't say it's close to Code Geass. No, I'm saying it's a good show to watch to introduce someone to anime. Remember, guys, we are introducing people. We're introducing someone for the first time. We're not trying to get them deep into like if it's like the side story of the sequel of the whatever like franchise, it's not that good to start with that. I think you need to recommend something that's relatively standalone as a show, because that way it encompasses a whole story and actually finishes somewhere, right? Or like gives a form of resolution to the story without having for you to go into the whole like universe of things. Gurren Lagann is 2 OTT shonen? Okay. I suppose it is pretty shonen. Yeah. But I think those two are pretty decent recs. Let me think. I mean, I have my Annie list, which is extremely large. If you guys want to check out my Annie list, you can feel free to do so. Is shonen bad? No, shonen's not bad. Shonen just has very typical features, right? Like action or like kind of adventure and action heavy, like commonly male heroes, right? Explain shonen. I mean, shonen means like young adult, like young male adult. So it's like caters to that audience. And that's my Annie list if you want to see. I currently am watching. Oh, I guess I would recommend something like like a good isekai. Wouldn't mind like recommending like Tensura, which is the slime. Like that time I got reincarnated as a slime. The second season just finished. Personally would recommend it. It's a good show. There is also if you like a completely different recommendation that I just recently watched and I thought was like mystery / very kind of maybe psychological or kind of like not like horror. It's not horror at all. It's more like drama, thriller. Taxi was really good. There's a really good dialogue, but I would say it's probably not good for a first timer. I would say it's probably better for someone who is more into like thinking as they watch. You know you're a true weeb when you could pull out an anime list. I mean, it's the same as a my anime list, right? Like Mal. So, I suppose so. Shonen is anime titties. Oh my god. Not always, okay? Not always. I love intense show fandom discourse, so I do not know what's going on. I'm excited to get into it. Okay. I would say that like Attack on Titan, obviously people have hyped it up, but it's a very, very good series. Attack on Titan is definitely very, very good. If you like sciencey stuff, I think like Dr. Stone was pretty interesting show that was recent and it's pretty good. A fun show to watch, Dr. Stone. If you have not ever been introduced to like Full Metal Alchemist, I would absolutely recommend Full Metal Alchemist. And Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood especially, which is a sequel to the main series. It's very, very good. A lot of people love it. No Game No Life is pretty good for people who are new. IMO? What? Really? I wouldn't say so. I would not say No Game No Life is a good show for new people? I don't know. It's a little more involved in my opinion. Hunter x Hunter. The problem with Hunter x Hunter is the fact that it's not finished. Hunter x Hunter leaves you hanging in the middle, which is just like a bummer. Demon Slayer too hype, but also good first anime. Demon Slayer, I would definitely recommend. Hunter x Hunter is very good, but yeah, the hiatus is what really breaks Hunter x Hunter. It's really, really good, but the hiatus really breaks it. So yeah, I would say there's other recommendations that I think are more apt. I think you need to have to be into anime to be able to tolerate certain aspects of No Game No Life. Absolutely agree with that. I do agree. Might be showing my age, but you're open to manga, which is basically comics, right? Try 5-star stories, best space saga you'll read. Good recommendation, yeah. Like Junia, if you're into reading, if you like reading instead of watching, manga, right? Like comics essentially, right? Is definitely a good way to, because a lot of animes, or actually, well, most animes are, you know, inspired from some source material, and it's gonna be manga or like novels, like light novels or web novels and so on. So, yeah, so reading is also a good way to get introduced to like the premise of things without feeling like the watching is like very tedious or you know, like requires a lot. Like there's a lot of stimulation going on when you're watching like anime, I feel. But reading, you can take your time. Imagine reading in 2021. Yeah, what is reading? What is reading? I love reading, but well, that's just me. It's also part of my job anyway, so reading. Have to read a lot. One Punch Man is better when you know the shonen algorithm than outright first anime. I agree with that, so I would not recommend One Punch Man as a first either. I also do agree. Death Note. Oh, Death Note is good. Yeah, Attack on Titan and Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, those are all pretty solid recs, to be honest. They all kind of start in a way where it doesn't quite assume that you know things, and it just exposes everything to you from the start. And I think it's a good way to get introduced as well. Yeah. Yeah. I read too many books with work. 20th Century Boy. And then Chunibyo is a fantastic fourth anime. Chunibyo is truly an introduction to the other sides of anime that you start to appreciate more as you watch. I have to say I love Chunibyo, but well, you know. Lightning, what do you exactly use for the chat? It's called 7TV. Like the shadow effect? Oh, I think it's just part of the 7TV widget interface. Like you can set it up on their widget. They have their like JChat is the overlay. Yeah, so JChat is the overlay for 7TV, and it has like little options that you can put up for the widget. What did I miss? Talking about anime, and that's about it, really. We're recommending anime for first-time watchers. First-time, like, anime watchers, specifically. That's what you missed, and then I'm doing stabs. Oh, and I unpacked some mail from Europe. I got some... Oh, wait, you were here at the beginning, so you didn't miss that, I think. Never mind. May I recommend Boku no Pico? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I also like slice of life stuff for anime, so Honey and Clover, like other stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. But slice of life is definitely my jam too. What do you get? I got some snacks. I got some Polish snacks, and I got a full-size cherry case and some OG cherry keycaps. Didn't miss the Equinox XL talk. Yeah, Equinox XL talk can't happen without the introduction of my not sponsored Keychron that have made the Q1 and push-ups. Sorry, it's an inside joke. For those who don't get it, don't worry about it. Oh, it's getting hot in my room. I'm gonna turn on the AC, so sorry about the noise. Oh, kind of poggers. Once I get my... Oh, yes. So I do have some news to share, guys. For those who only normally just watch, like the streams. So I have news. I got a video card. I scored a video card thanks to a friend. A friend of mine won a Neo Shuffle, and I scored a video card and a motherboard. And so I'll be having that soonish. And I'm still trying to decide what parts for some of the other stuff. But yeah, I scored a 3080. I got a Gigabyte 3080 Aorus Extreme. Expensive card, but nonetheless pretty nice. And also, like, it was bundled with a AMD B550 motherboard from Gigabyte as well. So yeah, and then yeah, I'm just gonna I still need to buy some RAM. I'm going to recycle my fans because I have some Noctua fans in my current computer. I'm probably gonna get a NHD 15S cooler for the CPU. For the CPU, I'm probably gonna go 5900X. Ryzen 5900X, probably. Build stream? I don't think I can build a computer on stream, actually, because I'm recycling storage from here to there, and also fans. So actually I can't keep this computer on while doing the other one. So yeah, I'll have to do it like on my phone, if anything. But that would be pretty rough. It's something I realized. What kind of storage am I using? Oh, so I actually do need to get an NVMe M2 SSD. So actually, I can post my parts list. I was making a parts list, and this is more or less what I have in mind, but still waiting to see what else I'm gonna. I still need to pick a M2 drive, which hopefully has DRAM, and then I'm just gonna move a lot of like some of the stuff that I currently have. Stream on phone? I guess that's possible, yeah. I guess I could stream on phone, yeah. Ponker is here to justify Tomo purchase and get upset if you say anything slightly negative about it. Tomo sucks. You shouldn't have bought it. Imagine buying Tomo. Tomo FOMO. Imagine. No NVMe? Yeah, not yet. I haven't picked one yet. That build is going to be such a nice upgrade. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a very nice upgrade. So if you do, I think if you do PC part picker right now, exclamation PC part picker, that's my current build. So it's a huge upgrade from like a 1070 and like a lot of old stuff like an i5. So yeah, I'm very excited. Basically like a 5-year upgrade. And then I'm probably not gonna build another PC for another 5 years, which is gonna be fantastic because I don't want to. So yeah. Bought Tomo because I like TGR design. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually got one because I like the olive green color. I really wanted to get an olive green color for that one, and I thought it would look nice with the design. It would look nice with the design, but we'll see. We'll see once the colors are out. I have the Samsung 980 Pro for NVMe and would recommend crazy fast and hopefully future-proofed a bit. Yeah, so I haven't done research on NVMe SSDs, but I'm pretty much just checking like build a PC sales, and if something comes up with good recs and like DRAM or whatever, then I'm probably gonna get that. And like 1 terabyte should be more than enough for boot drive and whatnot. So I'm just gonna probably gonna do a fresh install on that and then clean off everything else here that I have. I mean, of course, the hard drives that I use are mostly work related, like keeping VODs, and also just like my own work and stuff is mostly what's like I use a lot of the hard drives for it. So like yeah, so those will just stay maybe even as external storage. But since I think the case has brackets for it, so I'm just gonna put them in probably. Tomo low-key looks very blank on the inside, not a complaint though. Well, I personally think that's kind of nice. I actually don't even think we need to have very complicated interiors for keyboards. I don't even know what like if it doesn't serve a good purpose, it's kind of pointless, right? Hard to believe my PC is 5 years old. Aside from running out of SSD space, yeah, I actually do run out of space pretty often. The other day I had to do a pretty massive cleanup. So like for work, like for like research and stuff, I generate like a few terabytes of data all the time, like every time I do anything. So I constantly have to be backing up and cleaning up things. Because it's like imaging data, so it's like very heavy media just in general. And then same for like VODs, right? Those take up a lot of space. Do most Monokei boards ever look flashy though? Maybe the point is not to. Maybe the point is not to be flashy. Maybe that's the aesthetic that they want for themselves. After all, I do know that Mr. Beaming Robot is a fan of classic boards, so I understand why that would be the approach. Plus, you know, like these are collab designs, so these are designed by, like, the Tomo was designed by Yutzi, the Neko by Elaine from Singa, and so on and so forth. So yeah, remember, like, Monokei is the vendor in this case, taking over logistics, whereas, you know, the design itself comes from, like, the input and the design obviously does come from both sides, but don't forget that a lot of the design is from the designer themselves. So this is the right one. Thoughts on Cat Bus, Bowsette? I saw the picture earlier. Jeff Leopard. I like it, but it's too expensive probably. So it's like, it's kind of not fun to like something that ends up being too expensive, because you're just like, well, I can't have it anyway. So it's nice to look at though. It's nice to look at. Why the mix of stabs? Because we have to use a clip-in for the spacebar. If you want to try the O-ring. That's why. Big True, yeah. Oh, come on. All right, there it is. Alrighty, time to test these stabilizers. Do you spring swap your MX Blacks? Oh yeah, absolutely. Otherwise they'll be too heavy for use, I would say. Yeah, no, it'll be too heavy if I didn't spring swap. So yeah, I do. I am Tien. Hello. How are you? All right, let's get some keycaps. And cherry springs are terrible? That too, actually. Cherry springs are actually not too good because they have a lot of variance to them. So they're not very consistent. What spring am I using? Oh, good question. I think these are... I believe these were SPRiT 58 gram? I think these are SPRiT 58 grams. Yeah. I should have have in the box here. Yeah, 58 gram SPRiT springs. Diego, do you see the Nintendo Direct? No, dude, I missed it. I actually was busy. So no, I didn't. How did that go? People were talking about the Nintendo Direct maybe having Oh, actually, I like lost my train of thought. What was it? Mario Movie Cast? Oh, is it exciting? Dude. That sounds fun. Anyway, Joe asks, is it common to use different stabs for spacebar when doing O-ring with a top mount? Is that just with this board? I may have misunderstood something. Yes, so, Joe, so when you use screw-in stabs on the spacebar, so when you use, clip-in stabs and screw-in stabs have a slightly different amount, like a footprint to the board. Oh, I missed a screw there. But basically, if you use a screw, it is the footprint of the end of the stab here is slightly bigger with screw-ins, and so if you use an O-ring, any stabs that are near the edges of the PCB, the O-ring is gonna kind of sit a little further out, so it's a pretty tight fit. Or sometimes it just straight up does not fit, because O-ring mount depends on like large O-ring gasket to basically be seated between the case, right? Walls, right? In the case walls and the rest of the assembly. And so yeah, so if you have screw-in stabs and they make the O-ring like fit too tightly, then it'll cause issues, or it'll just not fit in the assembly at all. So yeah, that's why you have to switch those out with clip-in stabs, because they have a slightly smaller footprint. But yeah, Mario Movie Cast had me dying. I'll have to look it up. I have to look at it after stream. I'll definitely do so. Screen stabs tick on my warped PCBs, huh? And clip-ins don't? Is it different from clip-ins for you? Let's see. I have to say, these switches are not the smoothest. When I was lubing, I kind of realized they were not the smoothest. I mean, it was what I was sent, so I'm just working with that. So if you feel like it doesn't sound very smooth, that's probably why. Just checking that there's no rattle. Were you given some to cherry pick? No. There were actually I had 3 viewers, so I had to provide 3 retooled blocks. I think these, which are these 3 over here. Yeah. Always have ticking with 7U, but 625 works fine. It's because with longer stabs tend to have larger variance, so larger room for error because the wire has to be longer, and basically, yeah, it seems like there is a bigger miss kind of rate for 7U over 6.25. Okay, so with Durock screw in PCB, I would also need a clip-in for the spacebar. Yes, so Joe, so yeah, you need, so for example, let's say this was a 60% or a 65% instead of a 75, then the backspace is going to be at the edge of the PCB, right? So if you had an O-ring mount board, right, which is 60 or 65%, and you had full backspace, then your backspace would also need the clip-in stab. Any stabs that are facing the edge of the board would have to have clip-in stabs, so you don't add extra, so you don't add, don't push the O-ring out. So, but in general, for most keyboards, you can use screw-ins for everything. It's just the exception for O-ring mount stuff. It's not like a rule per se, but you're kind of doing it just in case, because most of the time these cases have pretty tight clearance, tight tolerances and tight clearance spaces for this. So when you use screw-ins, it does tend to have some issues. Oh, Eric, hello. You said last stream they sent you this to test out some things before production. Anything specific? It was just mock assembly, and basically just making sure that, you know, everything assembles without any issues, and finally, like, you know, just checking last few details. Basically just wanted confirmation from me, like you'd see, just wanted some confirmation from me that, you know, everything was fine before saying like yes to the CNC. Watching on mobile with my left AirPod in? Nice. Are you still at work? I assume you are, because you did say you get out pretty late. Yeah, I did give some small feedback. Like some of my feedback was just like, oh, you know, I was just testing the left side here. This corner mount was a little further from the corner, and I was kind of worried at first when I like before even putting it together that it might be like the plate might just sag a bit there, but I think once you solder, the joints themselves hold that part together, and so it's not that bad. It's actually pretty nice, but it's definitely true that the left side is like it has less rigidity to it because the mounting point down here is a little further away from the corner. I went out to get dinner earlier, and 3 blocks later I'm all soaked from knee down. Oh shoot, that's right. It rains. It was gonna thunderstorm today. Blacklisting Twitch TV as a domain? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, you mean for work? Oh yeah, that's a rip. What do you mean, good old Cherry MX Black? It's just a way to say the classic build with Cherry Blacks. But I believe these are vintage MX Blacks, based on what I see here. I think these are vintage MX Blacks, and also, yeah, I think they are. Hi Diego, how are you doing? I hope you have a great day. Hi Zambumon, how are you doing? I hope you have a great day. How is your new PC doing? Those pictures, man, so nice. So nice. I'm jealous, but I can't have a small form factor PC because I need the PCIe slots. It's not new. Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. Your pictures are newer, but the PC is not new. That's true. It's very nice though. It looks fantastic. If you need a capture card, it's not viable. Yeah, I know exactly. That's exactly why I know. I know that I can't do small form factor. I would do small form factor for like separate machine. Maybe like a if I had my own place, like a living room machine kind of thing. Small form factor would be the move. But yeah, your form T1 looks so nice. Such a tight, nicely done build. Love how it looks. Yo, silver looks pog. Silver is fantastic. I saw your part picker list and how many drives were on it. Oh, it's so Terrence. So all those drives, like I bought them. So you can look. The best way to know when I bought them is to look at the price, cause you can see like the prices were pretty high back then, and like you see that I paid like, you know, $100 for like a 500 gig card or something like 500 gig like SSD back in the day, right? They're all like older drives that I've gotten, like, you know, maybe like once a year or something like that, because I run out of space. Will this be normal top mount? We'll try both probably. Where do you buy your MX Blacks? I did not buy these myself. These were sent to me by Monokei. I believe these are just Mr. Beaming Robots' vintage black, you know, bag of vintage blacks that he probably had around. Although they were not lubed, so I had to lube them with 205 and film them. Handsome Diego strikes back with a Tomo build pog, please. Do you get to keep this? No, I get to return it. I actually ordered a production unit myself, so yeah. No, but no, I don't get to keep it. It would be nice, but no, I don't. I get to play around with it for a little bit though, I guess. Anyone know where I can get gummy O-rings? I'm pretty sure you can get them from a lot of different places. But yeah, certainly a lot of, there's like Chinese vendors on like, I forget where, like it was AliExpress or some other place. And I've definitely seen a couple of other shops in North America sell them. I think that, oh, there was that guy Input Rice, and there was also Keyspresso, yeah. Keyspresso, I have an affiliate link down in the lower right side box if you're on PC. There's a link that you can probably get a discount if you order from there. They're from Canada, so I think these pins are slightly bent. R&D KBD has some Ultra Glides 320k actuated MX Blacks. That's pretty cool. I actually have not really experienced like those like mechanically actuated switches. Like, I think the idea of it is really cool, and people have bought those. Do you think a 60% gasket O-ring would fit in a TKL? No. What are you even saying? No, of course not. But yeah, I haven't tried any of those like beaten in like switches, just because yeah, just haven't gotten the chance to. And I find those machines kind of interesting. Pretty cool, honestly, that people have figured that out, like how to break them in with like the motors and stuff. Yeah. But definitely seems a little overkill in a way. But at the same time, yeah, just kind of intriguing is what I would say. I think it's a little intriguing. I personally I find it like cheaper and overall logical. What? Just use switches stock for 2 weeks? Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I personally can't bother, to be honest with you guys. And yeah, what springs? Yeah, these are 58 gram SPRiT springs. This whole hobby is overkill, so it fits. Oh yeah, absolutely, it fits like a glove for sure. Like, yeah, hobby people definitely. This hobby people, like, you know, we definitely overthink things and overdo things for sure. Go pretty overboard with a lot of stuff. Nice. I guess we do have one spare switch. Maybe I'll replace one of these retooled ones. There we go. Alright. Let's just check the stabs one last time. Better solution is just buy a pet monkey to match your keyboard 24/7. You can have if you have kids, ask your kids, just press on this for a while. Just kidding. Just kidding. How is a stem wobble? Stem wobble? It's fine. These have switch films. If you're talking about housing wobble, it's fine. These have switch films on it, so they seem fine to me, at least. Have a set of creams I broke in myself. Oh, I see. Anyway. Ooh, okay. We are making pretty quick and easy progress on the build. What stabs am I using? I believe these are Durock V1s and clip-in cherry stab. And before I forget, I might as well do a toothpick. CRP Desco. This is OG Cherry Desco, actually. Do you like cherry clip-in? Yeah, I do. I actually have a few hundred of those. Cherry clip-ins are nice. Alright, just gotta run the fan. I'm just facing this way. Alrighty. What was the toothpick for? So the toothpick for clip-in stabs. So it's basically to make your clip-in stab act like a screw-in a way. Like that's the way. This is kind of a way to put it. So the reason why screw-in stabs exist, right, is that when you pull on your keycap, right, with your keycap puller, right, when you pull on your keycap to remove the key, right, sometimes if like for clip-in stabs, these can actually unclip from the PCB because maybe you pulled at an angle or something, or you just pull it really hard, or the keycap was really stuck on the switch or something, you know, or on the stabs maybe, right? So sometimes these can actually come off. So that's why people made screw-in stabs, right? Screw-in stabs basically just stay right on the PCB. And so what the toothpick does is basically you're putting a piece of toothpick right in the middle between in the clip, right? So that the clip does not compress when you, like, you know, accidentally, and it doesn't come off from the PCB. Is it actually likely for that to happen? Likely, no. It is likely if you have very tight keycaps or something, or if you're pulling hard, or like you're probably like not, like you're applying too much force or something. But like, does it happen? It is possible. Is it likely? Probably not. Yeah, I don't think I mean, I have to say, I have rarely popped a stab from the PCB. Like, maybe I've done it like twice in like 4 years. So, yeah, it really does not happen. Like, I feel like it can happen if you're using maybe like, let's say like some PBT caps, like ePBT or CRP or whatever, right? Like some PBT caps that you got and they just are kind of tight on the stab or something, you know? Sometimes that can happen. But, yeah, it's pretty rare, I would say. Dude, I just saw the Phase 1 keyboard from KBD and base price is $468. Huh. Okay. Never done the toothpick, always did the paper clip and just clip off with wire clippers? Well, it's the same thing, right? Paper clip or toothpick, or doesn't matter. You just jam something rigid in there that, you know, prevents the stab from, you know, unclipping from compression, and you're good. Toothpick just happens to be cheap and accessible, and I have, like, you know, a few hundred of them. So, yeah. It's just whatever I have available to me that's easy to get. Never thought of a toothpick? Yeah. I mean, of course I knew about it because I saw it somewhere on Reddit or on Keycaps or something like that. And I was like, huh, toothpick mod. I was like, oh, cool. That's a way to make that work. Saw in a YouTube video someone using these pieces of plastic from Taobao, specifically made to for clip-in steps. Yeah, I think KBD Fans also has those, the little plastic clips for it. But what's the point of? I feel like toothpicks are just cheaper and easier to get anyway. So why order something specifically made for it when you can? It still works with something that's cheaper and easier to get. That's just my reasoning anyway. That reminds me, what does everyone think of Prevail Switch tripods? I have no idea what it is. What in the world is a Switch tripod? They go under the switch? Like a pad of foam? Oh, I see. I see. Is it called a tripod because the pegs, like the peg and the two legs of the switch go like through it, I suppose? Huh. Okay. Personally find it extremely unnecessary and very extra. That's just me. Because imagine having to bother to put foam under each of your individual switches. How bothersome is that? Why go that extra mile? If you want foam, there's people who cut out those plate foams or whatever. Per switch P foam. It's just so much work. It is so much work. Or can't you just actually put a... Can't you actually just put a flat piece of... very flat sheet of this foam or whatever, and just pierce through it as you install your switches in? Wouldn't it just... Wouldn't the metal pins just pierce right through? Like if it's thin enough? Right? You could just force it through. Basically, it will be a very thin sheet below, like between the PCB and the switch bottoms. But you could do that. You could just P foam on. Yeah, I mean whatever it is, right? But you could just do that. But yeah, it just sounds very laborious, and honestly, yeah, it's just a lot of work. Honestly, it's just too much work, I think. I feel like the benefits of it are fairly marginal, or even if they're there, I feel like maybe I probably don't like the effect of it. Yeah. Is the real solution to add everything? Like to add to the point where we don't have any space to add any more things? $8 for 100 pieces of foam? Damn. Can't you buy like sheets of foam for $8? Like the ones that you can just get from like an arts and crafts store? And just cut it out yourself. The solution is just to make a foam keyboard, or the solution is just maybe to not use a keyboard at all. Just think harder, bro. Think harder. It will type on the. It'll digitize your thoughts and put it into the PC. Think harder. Why not use text to speech? Yeah, exactly. At that point, right? Silence Toper. Oh yeah, Silence Toper is the goat. I love Silence Toper. Yeah. Silence Toper is the way. It's available OEM. You can easily mod it. Only takes maybe an hour to mod it. And yeah. Honestly, Silence Toper, very easy to achieve good results. And it only takes a singular purchase. JWKs for Cherry MX Black Hyperglides. I think it pretty much depends on the condition of the Cherry MX Blacks. I think the MX Blacks are still a hit or miss whether they're Hyperglide or not. So if the MX Blacks are smooth, I think I do like the sound signature and just the overall like look of MX Blacks. But JWK switches are also very nice. There's like a lot of very nice JWK or not JWK like Tech C and some other switch manufacturers like Kale and whatever, you know. There's a lot of very nice switches out there now. Extremely nice switches, like Gateron too. A lot of cool Gateron switches. We've tried those Cap V2 switches before, the browns and the yellows. They ended up being very nice, even stock. There's of course the classic Gateron Milky Yellow top switches, Gat-ings. The list goes on, you know. Pitching Nerf to make a keyboard right now. I'm gonna make $1 billion. They're gonna make $1 billion, and you're gonna get nothing. They're gonna be a thanks for the free idea. Your idea lives in my brain for free real estate. And they'll just take the idea and run with it, and you'll get nothing. Zeus TK will have haptic feedback engines. Yeah, about that Zeus TKL, huh? Looking very flashy. A lot of functionality that's kind of like... Never thought that someone would want that in a keyboard, but I mean, you do you. You go Glen Coco. Is kind of what I thought. I was like, but why? But okay, sure. Go ahead. Do your thing. Because the answer is because yes, right? So... Although I have to say, I personally don't like the language, like the way it's like the specific way it's written, like the interest check. This whole like 1% thing, and yeah, I kind of found it a little bizarre. Strange way to write an interest check. Would you say that FR4 brass or aluminum plates are generally deeper sounding? I think a lot of people say FR4 tends to sound pretty nice. And some people like tend to associate aluminum with a brighter sound, but I personally can't tell you the actual answer to it. The sound factors, like there's too many things that factor into sound. So I think every single possible modifier has to be considered for you to even take that into consideration. So I personally suggest just try it out and see if you like it. If you don't, change it. Just try it out though. You know, you have to take your risks. If you can't take those risks, then you know it's not very DIY for you. Then you should just try to do it yourself. Just give it a shot. See how it goes. Alright, I might have missed something. Let's see. Hi Lightning, I am all day says, are you building with O-ring? I might be, yes. I will try top mount first and then we can undo it and try O-ring, yeah. We can try both. It's more like why not? Yeah, I guess so. Any CM3 plates available? I'm obsessed with the black Jadwick nylons. They're great and so cheap. Oh, it's nice. Good to see new mechanical key switch options that are cheap and, you know, good for people to use. It's good. It's good to see affordable options out there. I like Pearl R2. I think the Pearl is super cute. It's a cute board, but yeah. I mean, I don't use 40, so I can't like relate, but yeah. I've tried. I couldn't type on them, so. Let's see. Funny thing about Jadwick Black, it's become high pitch from adding films. Huh. Gateron's still on top of value. They do, yeah. Gaterons are amazing value for sure. Best switches for north-facing PCBs. It shouldn't matter. Whether it's for north-facing or south-facing, switches are this. Like, I mean, they have the same like structure. So, if someone tells you a switch is good, it works for both south or north, I think. How scratchy are stock Hyperglide blacks? It pretty much depends. Every batch is different. So you buy and you get lucky, cool. You buy and you don't get lucky, too bad. Gotta buy a new batch, or you just don't buy it again. It's up to misfortune. Have you ever had a very bad batch of Hyperglide blacks? I personally have not even bought a batch of Hyperglide blacks, so no. I have friends who have, or people that I know in the community who have bought Hyperglide Blacks and have said that they didn't like it. So yes, I guess so. I can tell you at least from reports from other people that they've seen Hyperglide Blacks that are not good. All right, let's try some top mount first. Also, wait, I should test this PCB first. Let's test this first. Let me just put the other corner and then we'll test it first. Isn't there interference for some switches in north-facing PCB? It's not the switches, it's the keycaps that normally interfere. It's certain keycap profiles that interfere in north-facing. It's not about the switch, it's about the keycap profile. Is a plateless board? What? What do you mean it's a plateless board? The plate's right there. It is right there. Alright, let's test this first though. Let's see. Via here, okay. PCB's there. Key tester, test matrix. What? Did I miss that one? Let's see. We'll see. Might be a miss or might be a bad switch. Could be either. But fortunately, I think I do still have a extra, so just can just desolder that one. All right, what's ASDFGH? Okay, ASDFGH. It's this one. Oh no, it actuates. Must have just missed it by accident. I hope it doesn't chatter. Okay, seems okay. Seems alrighty. Is this the SE prototype? I actually don't remember the color options. So it's just silver with aluminum bottom and brass weight. So does that still make it normal version, I think? I think the SE had the polished bottom. So I think it yeah. SE silver with stainless steel. Okay. So there was regular silver was still available though, right? Yeah, okay. So this is just regular silver then. Yeah, I just needed a confirmation for that. Yeah, so this is a regular silver unit. I'm not too special. Just kidding. I am very thankful that Mr. Yutzi and Mr. Beaming Robot were kind to send this out to try. Normie? Nothing wrong with being normal, okay? What is your skincare secret? Oh, Nuka B coming here to mock my skincare. It's okay. My skin's doing fine, thank you very much. Alright, so we have no O-ring, just regular top mount. For our first assembly here. So let's get some screws and put it together, and then we can try O-ring after this. After we try this. Sound good? Sounds good. Your skin is beautiful. Oh, come on. My skin is not that good. I'm trying to manage it better. But I mean, as far as skincare secrets per se, I actually follow a few like influencers who are like into like dermatology stuff. They actually give some good tips. Like, you know, like a lot of skincare just has to do with like moisturizing and like sunscreen, for example, like protection, right? So making sure that your skin is getting like the hydration and nutrition it needs, and then basically protecting it when you're exposed to like damaging agents. And then like to, you know, don't use like very harsh cleansers, that kind of stuff. You hella cute. Okay now. Just wait until you get old, Diego, it becomes non-optional. Very true. Very true. That's why I'm trying to take care of my skin now. O-ring mount? Not yet. We're doing top first, and then we can try O-ring after this. Sounds good? Speaking of the O-ring, where did I just put it? Oh, it's over here. We'll try the O-ring afterwards. Should we try those cherry dye subs that we got, and we can just put on some missing keys on it so that it's compatible? Are you guys down for some PVT cherry? Or would you guys want ABS GMK? Dyesubs, yes? Okay, we can try it. Hold on, I'm trying to connect my phone to my laptop. Huh. As long as it is beige? Okay, beige does look nice on this, so let's try it out. Okay, so let's take these keycaps. Dixie mods? No. Probably, because it is OG cherry. The spacebar kind of tight on this stab. Kind of tight. Let me try a different spacebar. This spacebar is a little kind of warped, maybe. I have a few other spacebars. I'll be right back. Okay, that's better. Do you have DMG, Diego? I don't. I do not have DMG. I like DMG, except for the fact that it's text-only mods. So, because it is text-only mods, I don't like it that much. That's actually the probably primary reason I did not get the MG, is that it was text-only mods. R3 DMG just announced. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Is this the normal top mount? Yeah, this is normal top mount for now. And then O-ring, we can try it afterwards. Try this first, and then we'll try the O-ring. Omni this type? Oh yeah. Yeah, DMG was run by TKC the first couple rounds, I think, yeah. The key company. Tomo gives me keyboard identity crisis. Top looks like GMK Pro with the logo in the top right corner. Back looks like a J-Link, and the bottom row reminds me of a 910. Oh, that's right. This is quartz. That's right. This is quartz. It's not QWERTY. It's quartz. The bottom row is the same as any 65. Yeah, that is true. Oh, I'll hydrate. I've been wanting to. I forgot about that. Alright, let's get some... Oh wait, where's my F6? F6? Here it is. F6. Oops. Let's get some missing keys on this. Home. And I guess I need these guys. Alright, let's get some missing keys. Alright, so GMK Missing Keys. Do you get to keep this? No. I do not. Is the silverfish talk actually real? Apparently. I don't know though. is kind of neat. Page up and page down, awesome. Alright, nice. My real question about these trays is whether you can bread and fry them or bake breadcrumbs out of them and use them as breading. I have no idea, man. Why don't you try it one time? I'd like to see a nice video on it. Alright. Of course, the finishing touch. Are those arrows super shined? They're, yeah, decently shined. Is some artisanal keycaps. Let's see. Let's see. I think I want to put some lightning and maybe we'll add some color to it. What kind of silver is beige? I have no idea. Oh wow, that's a okay. Okay, chat, why don't you help me decide between these guys. This, and this. Yeah. Between these three. Middle, right? I see a good middle. I see a lot of middles. Okay, middle it is. All right. All right. Here we have it, friends. It is the Tomo in silver. Ooh, all right. Look at that. Clean. Clean. Is it Tomo too heavy? Oh, sure. Actually, why can't we actually weigh it all built? We can weigh it all built. So all built. So all built, this weighs it weighs 4 pounds and 2.3 ounces, which is equivalent to 1.9 kilograms essentially. 1.88 kilograms or 4 pounds and 2 ounces. Not bad. Not bad. Not too heavy. No, not too heavy. I would say it's like right somewhere in the middle. What was the cost of this boarding group by? I actually don't remember. Someone could check for me, but Tomo, like 550. Sounds about right. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Like 550-ish. Alright, so O-ring is out. It's not, no, there's no O-ring. This is just regular top mount. Also, let me get this. So music off. Alright, so let's get this. Okay. Everyone can hear fine, right? Oh, ugly key. Alright, there. Alright, so this has OG Cherry dyesubs with a mix of a few ABS keycaps. We have ABS keycap here, ABS keycap here, ABS keycap here, and ABS keycaps here. Oh, and here. But it has some MX blacks on a polycarbonate plate. This is top mounted. So yeah, I actually don't know what to expect. So here we go. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty nice. Also, I was a little too close with that, so I was typing a little uncomfortably. But so I'm gonna try that again though, because it was a little uncomfortable. Let me try it one more time. All right. Maybe I can just move the mic a little over here and move the board slightly up. And maybe I can make this a little smaller. You guys can see. All right, I think that should be a little more comfortable for me. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay. All right. Alright, so let's see what people are saying. Okay, saw this one. Everybody's going to try to flip a look at blah blah. I don't think we'll let's see, sounds solid. Really good. Nice bit of scratch. Definitely a bit of Cherry MX scratch. This is the same build Teja did originally, right? I believe Nathan did aluminum plate, if I recall. Right? And yeah. Flex test, please. Not too flexy, I would say. Classic clap, yeah, definitely a pretty classic sound. Let's see. Oh, one way theory. Hello. I'm sorry you came in a little late. Sounds terrific, but the difference between this one is entirely the plate and switches. It was never hard to imagine sounding like this. I see. Not a huge fan of top mount, but I like the sound signature. I have to say I do like the sound signature a lot too. Any date for DMG? I don't know. Sounds like a top mount. Could you show the flex? All right. Yeah, sure. I can show a little bit. Okay, sorry, just catching up. Sorry, I was just catching up. Do I put NOS blacks in Tomo, box 75, or balance? Why not all three? Just kidding. Whichever you get first, maybe. All right. So let's check the mods first and the rest of the keys. Is that a bit of ping on arrow? Definitely a little hollow on the arrow side. Actually, let me take off my earphones and check. So definitely you can hear it much more with the mic. I would say the mic captures that kind of echoey sound a lot more, but if I'm here in person. The up arrow I can't tell, but here these three, I can definitely tell a little bit more, but I would say that with my earphones on, which are monitoring the sound, can definitely hear it. But personally, I don't mind. It's not like I'm using arrow keys like to the point where like that would bother me. But yeah, but corners tend to always be like this in most aluminum cases. Like corners tend to have a bit of hollowness or echo. Same with the control key, right? But yeah, pretty nice in my opinion. Anyway, let's try O-ring. Let's try O-ring. Yo, Lightning, with the heavy grails currently shipping out, would you be interested in doing a build of one of those? Well, if you want to send one over, sure. And of course, you would, obviously, you would pay for the service. But yeah, otherwise, sure. Although I do have to say, for anybody interested right now in build services, I do have a bit of a queue right now. So if you do send anything, it will take a little while because I do have some other prototypes coming in. I do have a Cloudline prototype to build at some point before the group buy. And I will also be taking a look at the Tape 65. It's the one by Axiom Studios. From Axiom Studios is a 65% with I think gasket as well. So I will also be building a prototype for that. And there's some other surprises coming along the way, and so I do have a busy month ahead of me as far as that is concerned. So yeah, if you are sending anything in, please do expect a bit of a delay for me to get to things. So yeah, because a lot of the prototype stuff does have a time frame during which I need to complete it. So yeah. Cloudline should be a good one. It definitely looks very nice. I don't know what to expect yet, but it definitely is pretty nice looking. Alrighty. Oh yeah, angle 80 as well. The Vertex angle TKL. I think I should be building one of those at some point. So yes, that one. Oh, swell. Do you see the GMK DMG announcement? Well, if it happened during the stream, then no, I didn't see the announcement. You know what I mean? I'm not paying attention to the announcements happening in the community when I'm streaming, so no, I haven't seen it. And if it was earlier today, then I wouldn't know. Anyway, so remove these screws. Ooh, yo, Ben! Hello, Basic. Thank you so much for the sub. How are you doing? I heard you accidentally clicked on go live one time. Hope you're doing well, though. Alright, so let's try this O-ring. So O-ring, just very simple, just goes around. And for those who don't understand how this works, basically, this case here, you guys see these little columns. So these columns actually are lined up for the PCB, so that the PCB actually goes all the way through, and it's the O-ring that's being held by these pillars. And then the O-ring is also held against the walls of the case, which allows it to basically be held, held in place. So that's how it works. It's basically friction, and yeah. So the clearances are fairly tight. It's kind of a requirement for this to work. Okay. That looks fine. All right, that looks fine. I'm doing good. Didn't mean to go live. Yeah, it happens. How come you had OBS on in the first place? I feel like to go live is actually kind of very difficult to get there. Do you normally use the virtual cam? Is that maybe why? All right. This case, a very small micro scratch over here, but yes, sorry there beforehand. But how am I doing? I'm doing well, Ben. I've been pretty busy with life, honestly. Just been like school and other things just keeping me busy. Work, there's also like projects coming up. But I've been doing well. I've been kind of keeping a nice balance, I think. I feel like I've been keeping a nice balance in life with respect to, kind of like work-life balance. I've been pretty happy about kind of how I feel about that right now. MF, yo, 9 months. Thank you so much. All right. Let's give it a shot. Think anything is shorting. That's a good. The right column does short out if you press hard enough, so that's something to note. If you have an O-ring, okay, if you press the right side like hard enough, it'll short the pins there. So just FYI. Don't press too hard. It'll be fine if you don't press too hard. It's just, yeah, if you're pressing on purpose like too hard, it'll definitely short these pins. Same with the arrow keys. I think the rest seems fine. I think it's just mostly the arrows these do short if you press very hard. Yeah. So anything too close to the sides, then same here. If you press like very hard, like if you actually press hard enough, then you'll short. But I mean, normal typing, you probably shouldn't be doing that anyway. So yeah. All right, let's give this typing thing a shot. So now we have a O-ring installed, and same build. So here we go. Okay. Are you winning, son? All right. All right. Sounds pretty good. It's definitely softer than the top mount. Let me give it one more try. Definitely feels a little bit softer for the downstroke. So, but yeah, let's try it one more time. Oh no. I think I pressed tab here by accident. Seems like O-ring sounds slightly deeper, but the difference in this config is very slight. Yeah, I do think it's pretty slight as far as pitch. I think it's not that big of a difference. I think O-ring is maybe a little more muted, but it's not. I don't think the difference is huge, I would say. I would say the O-ring mount definitely types more softly. I think that is probably the case. But yeah, I would say it kind of just depends on what you end up liking. I would say top mount still sounds and feels great. So Mr. Gondo, wow, I come from Brasili. Hello, Brasili brothers. Thank you so much for the raid, Mr. Gondo, Brazil, bro. But yeah, thanks for the raid and welcome everybody. We are Brazilians. Diego, do you get an Owl Lab Mr. Suit? No, I did not get a Mr. Suit. What's cooking? We're cooking FOMO tonight. We're cooking fear in people's minds tonight. Try with a GMK spacebar. You want a GMK spacebar? Okay. Oh yeah, we haven't tried the mods yet, but fully. Let's give it a shot. Oops. Actually, I did notice the same thing, Matcha. The hollowness is gone, as pointed by yourself. The hollowness on both with the control and the arrow keys is gone, but and of course it is more flexible. But yeah, it definitely is more muted as well. Yeah. If you want to look more closely, I suppose. Let's see. Can we enhance? If you want to look at if it's flexed or not, it's not too much, I would say. It's a full plate after all. Maybe if this had a half plate, might be significantly different. But yeah, I would say it's soft. You can see it flex definitely if you press hard, but what keycaps are those? These are OG Cherry dyesubs in the Swiss layout. Yeah, so you can definitely see it flex a little bit with the folded polycarb plate here, right? It's not crazy, but it's there. And like maybe if you want to take a look from the side. Yeah, it does sink a bit, but that's because the sides are also not. I mean, I'm pressing pretty hard, by the way. So, yeah. So yeah. Yeah, actually, plug it. Get it from the other side. Like this side is a little bit less secure as far as like the mounting point is a little further out. So you can see it sink quite a bit, but again, do note I am pressing significantly hard. So yeah, if that gives you some insight on that. Do you think they'll fix the arrows and side keys shorting? They don't need fixing, it's what I think, because it only happens if you're pressing like really hard. So it's not a problem. It's a problem that you're causing intentionally, so it's not a problem. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like in normal typing, you're certainly not doing that. So, random thought, does it use the unified daughter board? It does. Use the C3 whatever unified daughter board, yeah. Anyway, so that's what this sounds like. And wait, why did that stop? But yeah, you guys have any questions or thoughts? Overall, do you like it? I do. I do like it. I have to say, the one thing that does bother me is the layout in the end, because while how this key lines up here is nice and the badges there and all is also nice, I think the only thing that bothers me about a compressed F-row layout like F13 is that it's too compressed. You know what I mean? Like the separation between the escape and the F-rows and the F-row keys between each cluster is very narrow, similar to the F13 keyboards, like with TKLs. So I personally prefer regular TKL where the separation is a little bit further out, but that's the only thing. And I do feel like the badge is kind of like it's a little extra bit, but it's like whatever. So I could do without the badge too, but it's part of the flair of the board, so I think it's totally fine. How does it compare to Jane? It actually, I would say this is like, it does kind of feel like a 75% Jane. Like, if you guys want to see what I mean. So this is my TGR Jane V2, and this Jane V2 has a half polycarb plate and vintage MX Blacks. Oh, actually no, retooled MX Blacks with 55 gram springs. Also PBT keycaps. And let me stop the music for a sec. But oh wait. Sorry. Just need to make sure I'm not typing weird things into chat. All right. Right? It's comparable in that sense. This has a half polycarb. This has fully polycarb, and the mounting position of the plate is actually is separated in a way that's relatively similar. But of course, this is a larger board. Everything factors into sound, so don't take that with a big grain of salt. It just kind of varies depending on what everything you have. I'm so used to looking at F13 TKL now that normal TKL gap between F1 and escape looks so big. I like it though. I actually don't like the F13 gap as much. It just looks too compressed for me. But that's just me, right? Can you show the back of Tomo again? Sure. Sure. So this is the Jane, and this is the Tomo. So yeah. What does JD prefer of the two? Probably more well acquainted with the Jane, so probably the Jane. Banana looking brass on Tomo. Definitely yellower kind of brass, yeah. Ordered an olive Tomo. I ordered an olive one too, so we're twinning. We're twinning. I like to feed on the Tomo. I have to say the semi-cylindrical feet are actually pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But overall, my thoughts on the Tomo are pretty positive. I think it sounds great. I think it also feels great, especially with the polycarb plate, which I believe is a default, right? So I'm gonna be pretty happy with that. What do you plan on using on your personal build? I actually might do this build, basically, which is going to be MX Blacks on a full polycarb plate, because I didn't order any extras on the Tomo. I literally just got the kit in olive green. So I might do that. I might do MX Blacks on a full polycarb plate. I think that would be nice. With this specific layout, I think would be nice. Yeah. Good old MX Blacks, that's what I mean. Oh, moist armpit. What a name. What a name. Is it possible to have O-ring and top mount compatibility in the same board? Yes. I mean, this is essentially top mount and O-ring compatibility in one board. The Tomo. In the case of the Jane, that's not quite the case. You need to have the case needs to be made in such a way that you have the compatibility. Like the bottom case specifically is, you have to put those PCB little cutouts, and you need to have the cutouts on the PCB itself. So yeah. Yes, JMV2CE was the introduced that O-ring top mount thing. Yes. Is it possible to have leaf spring and top mount? I guess, because if leaf spring is just like thin cuts on the plate in a way, so I guess maybe. Yeah. Will you be uploading both sound tests on YouTube? Yeah, I'll try to do that. Just miss a typing test. How far is it from JMV2 in terms of sound and feel? I think it sounds great. I think it sounds and feels really great. I think it's hard to compare them like side by side, but I think they're both. I mean, this board actually sounds very nice. I'm pretty happy. And it's pretty comfortable to type on, so I think it's pretty nice. But anyway, you guys get the idea. And I saw those comments about the Mr. Suit. That's quite unfortunate. It is what it is, I guess. Endgame worthy? Yeah. Yeah, totally endgame worthy. Yes. I think this is I think it's totally perfectly fine to keep as an endgame worthy board. Totally fine. Is the typing angle of the Jane and Tomo the same? I think they are similar. I believe they are similar. I just put the Jane back, but they're pretty similar. Oh man, this board's heavy. Alright, pray that I don't do anything wrong. Yeah, it's wait. Is the Tomo slightly shallower than the Jane? Maybe. They're about the same. They're about the same. Also, my Jane's a B stock technically, I think, because you can see some of the mismatch on the colors. There's some streaking. But yeah. I was also like one of the last people to get the Jane. Tomo may be lower front height. Oh my god. Yes, slightly lower. Very slightly lower. Jane looks chunkier because it is chunkier. It is chunkier, I think. Look. If you compare the thickness of the piece right there, it is slightly, like it's almost the same. It's almost the same. It's very close. Yeah. Anyway. And where did I get the case? This is a TX bag, Michael Weston. This is a TX bag from Makibo, or yeah, back when they used to be TX keyboards. Have you tried the Kaban bag? Yeah, I built a house. I built a house before, and I commented on the Kaban. Pretty nice. Is that the swap blue proto anodizing? No. This is the blue-gray. This is the blue-gray colorway of the Jane V2, the TGR Jane V2, which is nothing to do with the Monokei anodizing stuff. Monokei was made after the Jane V2 ran, a long time after. So yeah, back then Mr. Beaming Robot was a wee lad, just like all of us. We were fellow enthusiasts collecting things out there. I mean, we still are. We still are. Did he use the O-ring? Yes, I did. I did use the O-ring. Currently it's installed with the O-ring. But yeah, pretty nice, huh? Wanna take a close look? Spacebar pops like a unicorn. I don't know. Would you say so? It's a nice sound, I think, though. But yeah, it looks pretty nice. Love the silver. Silver is so underrated. So underrated. Silver just looks great with warmer tones like beige like this. Thoughts on Monokei finishing? Absolutely great. Gorgeous finishing, I think. Look at, guys, please look at the beauty of R5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In what world is silver underrated? If you look at stats for keyboard group buys, silver is actually relatively unpopular. Yeah. But look at R5. R5. Gaff, ignore that. R5. Well, Gaff is nice too. But R5. So good. Since when? Always. If you look at any group buy that has black, silver, gray, and then maybe like another color, silver tends to be pretty unpopular. I know because I've looked at a lot of like keyboard group buy stuff before. Silver is pretty unpopular. Like as far as like percentage, it tends to be on the lower side. It's like it's always on the lower end. Yeah. Like a good example is look at Duck keyboard group buys. A lot of them, they only have black and silver. Black tends to be more popular than silver. Or if they have gray as well, gray tends to be more popular than black and silver normally. Yeah. What colors usually win? I feel like gray is tends to be the more popular color choice. But yeah, look at that butt. Looks so good. IMO, silver over white for sure. 100% prefer silver over white. Gray's for people who can't decide between black and silver? Yeah, true. But at the same time, why not just get all of them? You get one silver board this group buy, next group buy you get black, next group buy you get gray, next group buy you get red. Just get one of every color. Eventually. What are your overall thoughts on Tomo? Really nice keyboard. Personally, I do really like it. Did yours come with the brass badge? No, this is an aluminum badge. But pretty nice board, honestly. I mean, I definitely think this is basically, so this layout right here, this is basically the F13 row from like TKLs, like H88 or whatever, right? So it definitely feels a little cramped because of the badges there as well. So badge seems to be, it's fine. It sounds and feels very nice though with the full polycarb plate. I personally think I'm gonna just keep it a full color polycarb plate for my own build. So I'm personally enjoying this a lot. Of course, with PBT it's pretty nice. I'm sure it'll sound and feel pretty good with ABS too, with like GMK. I think OG dyesubs or CRP is definitely nice, but I think GMK would also be very, very cool. Yeah. but looks great, to be honest. I do think that Mr. Yutzi's kind of redesign look with the seamless and this sort of like platform like look, that like he adopted the Jane V2 look with the double weight, right? And then he took, instead of, you know, he instead of like extending this all the way out here, he put it a little back towards the middle, right? And to achieve the seamless like cover, right? But it looks very good. It looks really nice. I do like this look. I also do like the fact that the USB port, for example, it sits a little further in, right? So you can't quite see the rest of the like connector, like even if it like plugs in like this, right? And you can't see any of the connector. The cable's like well within, you know, this part of the keyboard, and so it looks like just the cable's coming right out from the center. It looks very nice. Black with YTech MK06, MK06 caps. My man, you have good taste, Joe. Excellent taste. YTech caps, very nice. Also, maybe MX clears from those. Also good. Anyway, yeah. I do hope you guys are looking forward to this. I do think that this will be pretty nice to get. Speak on the round badge eyesore though. So the badge is not as an eyesore as much as the compressed F13 layout bothers me. I think the F13 aspect bothers me more than the badge presence. I think the presence of the badge is kind of okay, but it makes things compress, so it bothers me. So yeah, it's like I could do without the badge for sure, but it's more so the compressed F row that kind of bothers me the most. Yeah. The badge looks better in brass black. I mean, surely it'll look good in different accents, yeah, for sure. I don't know if I bought any other badges or anything like that. Do you mind F13 on TKL? I prefer F12 over F13. Prefer. But I don't mind. I mean, I'll use F13 TKLs. I'll use F13 TKLs, but I do, if I have a choice between F12 and F13, I'll probably pick F12. Yeah. Exploded navigation arrows would look sick. Actually, I don't like exploded arrows on 75s or 65s. I actually don't like the arrows not being in line with the rest of the mods. That's something I don't like, actually. Like, if the arrows are slightly lower, like that, I feel like I miss them. That's something I can't do normally. I would prefer not to. I can, but I prefer not to. Yeah. Because I feel like my hands tend to go towards like the corner of the board to locate myself. But if it's like further out, I feel like I tend to miss it somehow. Happened to me on the TXCP, I think, which for the arrow keys were slightly offset. But yeah. Anyway, hope this helps. Oh, I should plug this in. Big weekend, Diego. KLC, don't want to expose it, but you're in, yeah? I mean, I should be taking a look at one at some point, but I believe the prototypes are not ready yet. Oh, the PCBs. I think that was a real bottleneck. I think the PCBs were not ready for dollars. Yeah. Don't speak about it. Okay. It's okay. Nachos, you don't want to speak about it, right? Wait, what the? I must have pressed a modifier somewhere. It's like locked right now. Oh, there. Nachos does not want to talk, so we might as well not talk. Goodbye, Nachos. He'll be back. Oh, Chillgam. Have a good one, my friend. Take care of yourself. Thanks. Feed me with your hatred. Anyhow, if y'all have any questions, last minute stuff, let me know. I will stick around for a couple minutes. And does that say Nips on the emo? From Shizzle's channel. Ice Nips. Thanks for the bill. I agree about the badge. Wish the F13 had a little more room. Yeah. O-ring worth it? I think the O-ring is nice if you want a softer sound, softer feel rather. I think that's the benefit of the O-ring, and I think it's pretty nice. Are you getting a Dachi Ocho Cuatro? I am interested in it. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Made from hot tub streamer, maybe. How's it sound? What doesn't chat tell an evil guy about the sound? I mean. Anyway, would you mind showing the flex? It's not too flexy, but it's there. Like if you press really hard, it definitely sinks a bit. But again, in reality, you're not pressing very hard. So, yeah. Is this with O-ring? Yes, this currently has O-ring. And top mount was rather similar actually. Maybe slightly less muted and slightly less soft. Typing wise, but the sound was kind of similar. Yeah, I would say top mount still would be perfectly fine choice. I personally do like top mount, so I'm loving the Kikoichi emoji. Oh, I can't wait to build that. I'm going to be building Eric's, so I'm pretty excited about that. Can't wait for Beast Hiromi to stare deep into my soul. Is that a GMK Pro? Yeah. How do you like my GMK Pro? My $550 US GMK Pro. Pretty poggers, right? Isn't this such a magnificent gamer keyboard? I love it. Do you win a spot from the subathon? Temptation did. The typing feel of it is chef's kiss. Ooh, very exciting. Very exciting. Doesn't even have the triple gasket mod. Sorry, no tape mod and no P foam. Not a keyboard. Not worth it. Where my RGB? Oh, that's right. Those. I have to say the GMK Pro side window RGB stuff is kind of neat. It's a lot of it's a lot of RGB, but it's kind of cool. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see if we're gonna rate anybody. Let's take a look. Alright. O-ring mount, yes. Currently has O-ring mount, yes. Alright. Whoa, there's let's see. So there's Miss Patty Shinjin Wang doing some wow stuff. Manoli is building a Keycult 165. Halloween is building a UT 360. Who's that Lightning Keyboards guy? I don't know him. He must suck. These people are not doing. Mommy Cakes is building their first custom keyboard. Kind of cool. We could rate them and show some support. First custom keyboard. Maybe you guys can help. If they have any questions or need any assistance. Opening more stuff, then relaxation, a shallow lake. And then it's Firewire build desoldering their vortex. Tofu 60. Lubing. Another first keyboard builder. I don't know what this is. Cocktail Lounge. Maybe they mix? I don't know. Anyway. Ryan? Oh, Ryan. Lolstacks. Oh, Lolstacks. He's not using the keyboard tag. What a Chad. Cloud line. You guys want to see the cloud line? Next April 1st, you gotta do a build with every mod and every flow imaginable. Okay, yeah, sure. We can go raid Mr. Lols. When people ask me if I'll put O-ring, all right, let's get this back to. No, don't want to raid Ryan because it will decrease your chances or something. I mean, honestly, let's raid Mr. Ryan. I haven't raided him in a while. Mr. Lolstacks. All right. Well, friends, thank you again for stopping by. I believe the next keyboard build is going to be a Kikuichi Monji by AE Boards and Bisoromi, a collaborative design with a PCB from Wilba. Very, very cool keyboard. So function rule is TKL, win keyless I believe as well. So we'll get to check that out next time, I think. And yeah, I will also be checking out other keyboards soon. Like the Cloudline prototype should be coming at some point, and we'll talk about that closer to the group by date, which is going to be second week of October. But yeah, until then, yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I will of course be putting up the VOD on YouTube. Should be up in 2 days, and then yeah, I'll try to record some typing from this. Just the same typing that I did today, just with these caps and O-ring, no O-ring. Maybe people can benefit from it. And yeah, we'll go from there. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. No raid message tonight. Just go and hang out, alright? And yeah, take care of yourselves. Have a very good Thursday night and a good weekend. See y'all later. Have a good night.